Yes, I know. And I understand that some RV manufacturers and some RV dealerships will absolutely hate my guts. Why? Because I'm going to reveal my top five worst dual axle travel trailers that are fiberglass sided for year model 2026. Now, as Stephen A. Smith says, the list is fluid. The list is fluid. Which means, as always, if a manufacturer wants to fly me out to the factory with a completely open, transparent video, no editing, no corporate BS, none of that, I might have to change the list. Has that happened? Of course not. Welcome to HB RV Lifestyle. I'm John Levingston, aka the Honey Badger, here to give it to you straight and transparent about the RV business. And if this is the first time you've seen one of my videos and you're wondering, how can he put a list together like this? Well, I have over 15 years of experience in the RV industry, mainly at the dealership level. I've done everything from be a technician all the way to running a dealership. So pretty much if you name a hat at a dealership lot, I've worn it. Okay, now let's start with number 5 on the list. And we're going to get this out of the way because most folks are not going to understand what I'm going to say that are newbies. So I'm going to try to simplify this, okay? Gulfstream. Anything built by Gulfstream that is fiberglass. We're not going to go to a specific unit. We're not going to go to a specific brand. I'm going to encompass Gulfstream as one company that does fiberglass travel trailers. Look, I've sold Gulfstreams, okay? I have no problem with their price point. Their price point is cheap, it's inexpensive, but you literally get what you pay for. And it's unfortunate because when you look on the other side of things, which is their motorized section, especially when it came to their Super C motorhomes, they're fantastic. Or at least they used to be. So it's just, and again, if you're wondering why am I not going into complete detail, it's because I try to keep these videos under 10 minutes. A lot of people get in my comment section complain that I explain too much. Just get to the point already. So you'll see that I'm not going to give a lot of explanation into why. I'm just going to give you a couple like short details. Okay. That brings me to number 4. Number 4 on the list, I'm going to accompany one company, like one actual manufacturer, and that's KZ. KZ, I'm sorry, they do build a very interesting fifth wheel toy hauler. They really do. But at the end of the day, their travel trailer lineup just can't compare to what a lot of other manufacturers are doing, especially when it comes to fiberglass. And so just realize buyer beware with that stuff. That's if you're wondering why there isn't a lot of Gulfstream or KZ dealerships across the United States, there's a reason, and it's mainly the quality. And you got to understand something. When we're talking about quality, I always say that RV stands for toolkit and sense of humor. Nobody's perfect. You could spend $10,000 on a used 1999 motorhome, or you could spend $50 million on a custom made job, and you're still going to have problems because they're earthquakes on wheels. But the goal of the manufacturer should be to try to limit, listen to this, try to limit the earthquake, right? Okay. That being said, those two are not even close to the worst, okay? And by the way, spoiler alert, Brinkley is not on this list, and they're not on the best list either. They're somewhere in between, and I'll explain that in another video, okay? So that brings me to number 3. Number 3 pains me to death to say, because I absolutely, for years, loved selling this brand, this company, and it's Venture RV. Now, Venture RV builds things, or used, I don't know if they still are going to build it in the future, but they build the Sonic travel trailer, which to me for years, people wanted a dual axle travel trailer that was GVWR, to 6,300 pounds so they could tow it with a Tacoma. A lot of your Tacomas, your Ford Rangers, your Chevy Colorados, your GMC Canyons can only tow 6,500 to 7,000 pounds. So people like dual axle, but they want to stay within a certain GVWR. I don't blame you. That's a good way to look at things. Okay. But the quality, especially since it's fallen under the Keystone umbrella, just shocks me how terrible it's become. It's become like, I don't know. It's just become different. And from what I understand, there's going to be some changes made there, but I can't do anything about that until it actually comes out, right? And that brings me to number two. Number two also very much pains me. And it pains me because this is a brand, and it's a three-way brand that I feel was for years some of the best trailers made, and that's Forest River, R-Pod, Ibex, and No Boundaries. Ever since they went to this beast mode package, not only have they gotten outrageously overpriced, but the quality of everything else has significantly decreased slowly since that beast mode package came out. Now, I know a lot of you love the independent suspension. I get it. That independent suspension looks awesome. How many of you are really going to go that much off-roading to have to need that? So there's already a ton of brands. And I said this a long time ago. I said this a couple years ago. There's already a ton of brands that are independent shops that already dominate that off-road market. Why in the heck are you trying to compete with them with a name brand like R-Pod, Ibex, and No Boundaries? Because in order to compete price-wise, you have to cheapen the product somewhere else. Because that curtain suspension, that beast mode package is not cheap. So now you got to try to compete with travel trailers on a price point. You have to buy pretty much a 21-foot travel trailer, dual axle with the independent suspension, but you go on the same floor plan, same fiberglass, same solar setup with a torsion axle is $6,000 less. So you got to cheapen the product somewhere to keep up price-wise. And it just sucks. It just isn't what it needs to be, right? And number one on my list, and this pains me to say too, because I actually love this company and I love what they've done over the last, oh God, since '01. So we're talking 24, 25 years, is any Keystone fiberglass travel trailer that is not Keystone Cougar. Okay. So Cougar is excluded from this list. We're talking about everything else fiberglass wise, whether it's a hung wall with wood construction, aluminum sided, whether they want to call it Outback, whether they want to call it whatever they want to call it. It's become a war of price. Keystone Cougar is in its own little world. I keep that, Montana, all the bread and butter stuff that Keystone has made over the years. I put them in a category all on their own, right? I don't even include it in this list, but anything 2026 outside of Keystone Cougar has just, I mean, where did the quality go? This is a company that I really actually adore and love. You know, how, and I know I'm gonna get phone calls on this. How can you put us as worse than Brinkley's leaking problems? Well, first off, Brinkley's only real two problems that I have a problem with is they're overpriced. They have a bad leak problem because there's experimental exterior seals. But outside of that, they're a pretty okay travel trailer. They're good looking. They do a lot of good things. So, sorry,